with us on Sunday in a different place. And what did the witnesses say? And the second pair of witnesses said that the death took place, the murder also took place on Monday. So we have from Hayam and Aleph, Rava says, if two people said Reuven killed Shimon on Sunday, two people come and say, you guys with us on Sunday. So the fact that the second pair of witnesses say that the first pair of witnesses were with us on Sunday, that automatically makes the first pair of witnesses framers. And therefore, whatever the first pair of witnesses said that happened, we don't listen to, because the second pair of witnesses made them into framers. Now, but the second pair of witnesses say that, but the murder also took place. Good morning, Morris. When did the murder take place? The murder took place on Monday. So now we're going to have this phenomenon. We're going to believe the second pair of witnesses regarding morning, Jaime.
Good morning.
Good to have you back on the screen.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. We're on Hayam and Aleph. We're on 5A. Hayam and Aleph. We are on morning, Nathan. Hayam and Aleph, 5A3.
Thank you.
5A3 in the right column. We're going to review that piece. Amar Rava. Amar Rava. Everyone have it, Morris? 5A3, right column. Amar Rava. So Rava said the following. Bo Shnayim. Two people came. And what did they say? And they said, V'amru b'chad b'shabata harag plonius nefesh. Two people come to court. And they say they witnessed a murder that took place on Sunday. Ubo Shnayim, and then another two people came, and they said, "V'amru imanu hayitem b'chad b'shabbat." You with us on Sunday. So if you're claiming you saw this murder take place on Sunday, you could not have seen it. You with us. So that knocks out the first pair of witnesses. Now, but the second pair of witnesses, not until now, generally we found that the second pair of witnesses are coming to say that the first pair were with us. But now, not only are they saying the first pair with us, they're saying we also know what happened. We happen to have seen that Reuven did kill Shimon, but we saw that it happened on Monday. So Sunday, you claimed it happened on Sunday, the first pair of witnesses. What did you say, Jaime?
Me.
Oh, so maybe it was Dr. Navid. So
sorry.
You guys, no problem. You guys say it happened on Sunday. You guys are with us on Sunday. You're framing. We say it happened on Monday. We saw it happen on Monday. So you know what the Gemara says? In that case, we are going to now. So now, what are we going to do? We're going to, based on the testimony of the second pair of witnesses, we're going to kill Reuven, and at the same time, good morning, Mr. Asby, we're going to punish Reuven, and we're also going to punish the first pair of witnesses, because the first pair of witnesses said that they saw it happen on Sunday. They weren't there on Sunday, so therefore we're going to go ahead and punish both the Reuven, who was stated by the second pair of witnesses, said that Reuven killed it on Monday. I'm going to kill the first pair of witnesses because they say it happened on Sunday and they weren't there on Sunday. Just a reminder of a Birkas HaTorah for everybody. Now, the Gemara says, V'lo'od, the Gemara says, Afilu Amru Erev Shabbat Harag Ploni Esanefesh. Even if they say, the second pair of witnesses say that what happened, the second pair of witnesses say that the murder took place on Friday, which was the day, which was before the first pair of witnesses say that the murder took place. The first pair of witnesses say the murder took place on Sunday. The second pair of witnesses say that the murder took place on the Friday before. So now, even in such a case, we're going to go ahead and we're going to still kill the first pair of witnesses. Why? Because the be'idna the neherogin, they're going to get killed. Why? The be'idna the kamasadi, because when the first pair of witnesses came to court, gavra lav bakatalahu, the person was not considered obligated death yet. The person that they testified about, Ruvain was not convicted in any court earlier, and since he wasn't convicted in any court earlier, so when the first pair of witnesses come to court and they say that Ruvain killed Shimon on Sunday, and by the way, Rashi says, when did the first pair of witnesses come? Everybody's coming to court on Tuesday. Like I said, they're coming to court on Tuesday. The first pair of witnesses come to court on Tuesday about something that they saw on Sunday. The second pair of witnesses come to court on Tuesday about what they saw on the previous Friday. Okay, so when the first pair of witnesses come to court and they say that we saw this happen on Sunday, at that time, Ruvain was a free man. He wasn't obligated death, and only as a result of the testimony of the first pair of witnesses on Tuesday did the court make a verdict on Tuesday that Ruvain has to be killed. That's what happened on Tuesday. So now, even though the second pair of witnesses came subsequently on Tuesday, said that the murder took place the previous Friday, but since there was no verdict of the court on the previous Friday, there was no verdict of the court before the witnesses, before the first pair of witnesses came to court, there was no verdict on this case. So therefore, when the first pair of witnesses come to court, they are framing a person that has no death sentence on him, that has no previous death sentence. And therefore, we're going to kill the first pair of witnesses. But if the second pair of witnesses would have said that there was a verdict on the guy, on Ruvain, before, let's say before Tuesday, they say there was a verdict on Monday, or there was a verdict the previous Friday, so then we say we will not kill the first pair of witnesses. Why? We were explaining that yesterday. Because if witnesses come, in order for witnesses to get killed for framing somebody, they have to frame somebody who there was no previous verdict of death on that person. If they're framing someone that another court already had given a ruling that that person has to get killed for that crime, so therefore that person is considered already, in a certain sense, not a live person, because the court's going to kill him. So they're testifying about a person that already is considered not alive in a certain sense, because he has already a death sentence on him. So witnesses will not get killed for framing somebody that there's already a death sentence on that person that they're framing. Witnesses will only get killed for someone they're framing that the guy is a free man. Meaning the fact that the guy is a free man and has no verdict against him, that's the guy that the court will do to the witnesses what they wanted to do to them. Yes.
So, the two witnesses come. They give a verdict to kill the Ruvain.
Right. On Tuesday. They came on Tuesday. And basically the testimony Ruvain is going to be killed.
These are false witnesses.
Why they were false? Because subsequently, a second pair of witnesses said that these guys are with us.
Right.
Now,
so he's not dead yet.
the guy that they framed,
he's not really dead.
Right.
So when the guy comes in and says this was a blown case, or a case is inappropriately judged,
the second pair of
witnesses come and say this is a wrong, inappropriate case. He was with me. Right. Me in a different city, a different time, a different place.
Right.
So clearly the guy Ruvain is off.
Correct.
They believe that he's with him. Right. He's off. But now these false witnesses, they're off. The first A and B, they're off.
No, they killed. But what did the second pair of witnesses say? second pair of witnesses says the first pair of witnesses were with us.
Right.
So now, at that point, we're gonna kill the first pair of witnesses, correct?
No, but there was already a judgment on the, so he was, quote, not alive.
Right. So if there was already a judgment,
Yeah, the judgment came
Reuben.
already.
there was a
I'm
previous-
sorry, I
in
didn't say there
another
was a
court.
judgment.
There was another
No,
court.
and then that court
That
a
court
week
came-
later, the guy comes a week later. The judgment was made on this person. Reuven has gotten sentenced. He's a dead man, so to speak. A week later, they didn't kill him yet. I come to court, I said, listen, I have a testimony, I want to reopen this case. I reopened this case. He was with me. So now they believe the second witnesses,
And they'll kill the first pair of witnesses.
even though he has a sentence on him.
He didn't have it when they testified, he didn't have a sentence because.
When the first people testified, was there any sense, what they wanted to do to the other guy, he was gonna keep, right. Mark, we're saying, there's another piece to the puzzle, so to speak. The general case that we've been learning until now, two witnesses come, they frame someone, they say Reuven killed Shimon on Sunday. Two witnesses come and say, you guys were with us on Sunday. We're gonna kill those two witnesses. But you could not have seen it, witnesses get killed. But if the second pair of witnesses come and say, not only was the two witnesses with us on Sunday, time that they testified they was on Sunday, the second pair of witnesses come, but they say, you know what? There was already a verdict against Reuven, that Reuven is obligated death. Another court a month ago sentenced Reuven to death, and Reuven ran away. And Reuven didn't get killed by the court. No, this case, the same people, meaning the same witnesses that came along and said that the first pair of witnesses were with us, if they also state that Reuven had a verdict of death 2 weeks ago, there was a sentencing in a different court that he was obligated, same court, but if you want it, same crime. But as long as there was a sentencing of the crime of death on Reuven before the first pair of witnesses came into the court, the first pair of witnesses were found to be framers. But the question is, who did they frame? Did they frame a dead man or not? So we say if there was a verdict against Reuven before the first pair of witnesses came to court, if we could verify somehow that there was a verdict against Reuven before the first people came to court, but at the end of the day, we're gonna let them off because they're testifying against a dead man. But we're gonna make them into framers that we're gonna disqualify them for being future witnesses. And God is gonna punish them for trying to kill someone they didn't realize there was already a death sentence against, but they were attempting murder. So, but the court doesn't punish, the court down here does not punish a guy who witnesses who framed somebody who already there was a previous death sentence on the guy. But that's not a type of guy that they were trying to kill someone who was already half gone already. Because what? They're kosher witnesses until they're proven guilty. No, but again, we're saying the first pair of witnesses was Zomamim. The first pair of witnesses were found to be framers based on the second pair of witnesses that came to court. Jaime, there's a lot going on here. I don't know if it's so clear. We're gonna try. Is it clear or not so clear? I can't hear you.
I'm catching up very quickly. Keep going.
Okay, very good. Yeah. So that's what. Yeah, Mark says good morning.
Good morning to my friend Mark.
Yes. So that's what our Gemara is saying here, and the Gemara is stating that it's true that the first pair of witnesses get off the hook, so to speak, only if we find out that there was a verdict against the defendant, so to speak, that there was a verdict against the alleged murderer. As long as we know there was a verdict before the first pair of witnesses showed up to court. But if there was no verdict, it was just a testimony. Let's say there's a statement. The second pair of witnesses come to court, and the second pair of witnesses say, you guys, you were with us on Sunday, so you couldn't have seen it. But the murder took place on the previous Friday. But there was no verdict yet until now. So now we're going to kill the first pair of witnesses. Because when the first pair of witnesses walked into court, the guy that testifying against is 100%, he's a guy, there's no death sentence on him. And because there's no death sentence on him, he's considered a live man, and they're coming to kill a live man.
I have two friends that say the other witnesses were false, and now he's not getting killed.
A corrupt, not.
Okay, so now the Gemara on this theme, the Gemara is going to continue. But now we have the Gemara says, the Be'idna the Kamasadi, because when they testify, when the first pair of witnesses testify, Gavra la Bakatala, the guy they defended was not yet a dead person. So now the Gemara wants to understand what is the Chidush of Rava. What is Rava coming to tell us? So when a rabbi in the Gemara makes a statement, he needs to be telling us something novel. He's not coming to tell us something that we would be able to figure out, so to speak, on our own. So the Gemara is trying to understand what is the Chidush of Rava. So the Gemara says, most probably, that Rava is coming to tell us that we're going to have witnesses, a phenomenon, that the first pair of witnesses could be killed for framing somebody, even though that the guy that they framed is also going to be killed for the same crime. Because we're going to kill both the witnesses for coming into court on Tuesday, saying that it happened on Sunday when they weren't there on Sunday. But at the same time, we're going to kill the defendant because the second pair of witnesses said the crime happened on Monday. We're going to believe the second pair of witnesses to kill the defendant. Nobody challenged the second pair of witnesses. And we're going to kill the first pair of witnesses because the second pair of witnesses said that the first pair were with us. So we're going to have this interest. They had the date because they had the wrong date. They're framers. They were framing. They claimed it happened on Sunday. We're going to kill the first pair of witnesses. But even though it's true, the murder took place because the second pair of witnesses say the murder took place.
I think we said yesterday, incidental things like the car was green, the blue car, getaway car.
No, we have to look at the Gemara Sanhedrin to see exactly, what would be considered things, besides time, besides. Yes, we saw from our Gemara place. Remember, we had the story in the Gemara, it happened on the east side and you were on the west side. If you couldn't see, place and time for sure will be things to show that if you claim it happened in a certain place and you weren't there, you're definitely, that's it. You're framers, you're liars, right? So far, we've established those two things so far. We'll see as we go along, could be more, yeah. So now the Gemara says this phenomenon that will actually kill the defendant in the same crime that the guys were framing him for, which sounds like a novel idea that even though we're gonna believe that Reuven killed Shimon, and we're gonna actually kill Reuven for what the framers were framing him for, but they're gonna get killed also because they were framers, but they came to court to say about him there's something that they didn't see. So the Gemara says, Tanina, we already learned this. It's a Mishnah. So Rava does not need to tell us something that's stated in Mishnah. We learned Tanina, it says, the Fikach, the Mishnah says, the Mishnah talks about two groups of witnesses. And it says if one group of witnesses became Zomimim, let's say two groups of witnesses come to court and they each claim they saw a certain crime, and one group became invalid, came Zomimim, came framers. But the other group of witnesses did not become framers. So what do? The framers who said Reuven killed Shimon, we're going to kill them. And the other pair of witnesses that were not discredited, we're going to kill Reuven because they said that Reuven killed Shimon. So we have this phenomenon already stated in the Mishnah. So what's the necessity for Rava? Rabbi Rava, what do you, my father-in-law, Rabbi London of blessed memory, would say to the word, what's his contribution? What is he coming to add to that was my father-in-law's line. He has to be telling us something. Lefikach, the Gemara says, the Mishnah says, Nim says, Achas Mem Zomem, if one group, Achat Mem, one group is Zomem, who? The Hain Nerogin, the witnesses, the Zomemim would be go ahead and that group will be killed. Hashnia, but the second group of witnesses, Petura, not only they'll be patur, they would be exempt. We would actually listen to the second pair of witnesses who were not discredited. We would kill the first pair of witnesses who were discredited on their claim, but the second pair of witnesses who said the same thing, who were not discredited, we're going to kill the guy, the defendant. So we see nothing new. That even if the guy was obligated death for this crime based on another pair of witnesses, we could still kill the framers on a crime that we actually are believing that the guy did actually do the crime. But as long as the witnesses can have no right to testify about it because they weren't there, we're going to kill them. So what's Rava coming to teach us? So the Gemara says, Rava's coming to teach us the second part of Rava's statement. Rava has two statements. He has, we'll call it the Reisha, the first words of a statement, and then there's the Seifa, like Sof, the end, the second words. And the second words is that's where the novelty is. The Gemara says, Seifa, Mashe Einkein al Gemara din Itzrachalei. Rava needs to tell us regarding when there was already a verdict about Reuven, about the defendant. There was already a verdict before the first pair of witnesses came to court. That's going to be the chidush. The chidush is going to be that if there was already a verdict, then the first pair of witnesses will be off the hook. If at the time they walk into court and they make a testimony about Reuven, we're going to subsequently find out that there was a verdict on the books before these guys walked into court on Tuesday morning. There was a verdict. As long as there was a verdict, even if the verdict came out a day before on Monday, they're off the hook. No, that's what we said. This I spoke it out yesterday because I wanted to clarify to make it easy. No, Rav is the one who comes to tell us that's Rav's contribution. So the Gemara says, Sefer Mashe Israel. The Gemara says, Bo Shnayim. Now the Gemara tells us what's the case. Bo Shnayim. Two guys come to court. V'amru b'chad b'shabata. Two guys come to court and they say b'chad b'shabata, Sunday. Nigmar dino. On Sunday, there was a verdict, shalploni. They say that on Sunday, the court gave out a verdict to say that so-and-so should get killed. Ubo shnayim v'amru. And then the second pair of witnesses say, B'chad b'shabata, you say there was a verdict, you say you were at the court and you heard a verdict in the court on Sunday. It can't be. B'chad b'shabata imanu hayitem. You were with us in a different location. You could not have been in the court. You could not have been at that court on Sunday to hear the verdict. You were somewhere else. Now, again, by testifying that there was a verdict on Sunday, they want to kill the guy. Based on their testimony, the first pair of witnesses, they're coming to kill Reuven. But they say there was a verdict. They come, make the claim, and they say there was a verdict against Reuven on Sunday, and therefore, based on that, the court's going to listen to these witnesses and want to possibly kill Reuven. Completed. It was ended. It was completed. It was a gemar. Gemar means it was complete. So the second pair of witnesses first say about the first pair of witnesses, you guys were with us on Sunday. So therefore, you are framers. But the second pair of witnesses say it's true there was a verdict against Ruvain. Be'ela be'erev Shabbat nigmadino Shabbat. There was a verdict of Ruvain on the previous Friday. So here we are on Tuesday, we're in the court on Tuesday. The first pair of witnesses come in court on Tuesday morning, and they say, we were at a court on Sunday when there was a verdict against Ruvain. The second pair of witnesses on Tuesday come, subsequently say, you guys, you were not there in the court on Sunday. You couldn't have seen it. You were with us on Sunday. But there was a verdict against Ruvain the previous Friday. The previous Friday was a verdict against Ruvain. So now they're all going to be off the hook. Because now, at the time that the first pair of witnesses walked into the court on Tuesday, it comes retroactively. Subsequently, we found out that there was already a verdict against Ruvain the previous Friday. So therefore, when they came into court on Tuesday and they're testifying about there's a verdict against Ruvain, they're testifying about a guy who already has we already have established that the guy has had a verdict against him. They didn't know that. The witnesses didn't know that. Because at the end of the day, they came to court to kill someone who already has a previous verdict. Even though they didn't, but you're right. They didn't know that. But Shemayim in heaven, heaven will deal with the guy. Nobody gets the, there's the expression the guy got away with murder. We don't believe in that. Because maybe, good morning, Mr. Cohen, maybe in the courts down here he got away with murder. But there's no such thing that anybody gets away with anything. That's what we need to realize. And that's what we see. We see no one's going to get away with anything. Now, the Gemara says, listen, we haven't had courts doing anything for a long time, in these type of places, and God takes care. Now, v'lo'od, not only that, afilu amru betray b'Shabbat. Even if the second pair of witnesses say the verdict happened after the date that the first pair of witnesses say that the verdict happened. The first pair of witnesses say the verdict happened on Sunday. The second pair of witnesses say the verdict happened on Monday. So you might think maybe we should kill the first pair of witnesses because they say the verdict happened on Sunday, and the second pair of witnesses only come and say that the verdict happened on what? Who don't know? First pair of witnesses claimed the verdict happened. They came to court. They say there was a verdict against the guy on Sunday. That's what the second pair of witnesses come to court on Tuesday. And they say, on Sunday, we were in a court in New York. And in that court, we were talking in Yerushalayim. And in Yerushalayim, they made a verdict to kill this guy. On Sunday was the verdict. They come into the court on Tuesday. And they're saying, they come into another court. They're saying that on Sunday, there was a verdict issued, a death penalty to this guy. No, the first pair of witnesses is saying that, and then the second, that's the first pair. They say the verdict happened on Sunday. Second pair of witnesses now come to court also on Tuesday. Everyone's come to court on Tuesday. The second pair of witnesses come say, first of all, they say, you guys, you say you were in the court on Sunday and you heard the verdict. You weren't there. You could not have been there. You were with us on Sunday. But you should know, that's the first statement of the second pair of witnesses. So therefore, that should make them framers. But now, the second pair of witnesses also say that when was there a verdict, but there was a verdict against Ruvain, and the verdict happened on Monday. The court issued a verdict against Ruvain that he should be killed on Monday. So now, even though the first pair of witnesses say the verdict happened on Sunday, and the second pair of witnesses say that the verdict happened on Monday, but since when the first pair of witnesses only walked into court on Tuesday, and now we know from the testimony of the second pair of witnesses that there was already a verdict issued on Monday, we're not going to kill the first pair of witnesses. They came into court on Tuesday morning saying that it happened on Sunday. No, we don't know. We only thing we know about Sunday is that the first pair of witnesses claim there was a verdict. We don't have any previous. The first pair of witnesses claim that what? That there was a verdict. They came in on Tuesday morning and they say there was a verdict issued on Sunday by the court.
That would imply that on Friday or Thursday or Wednesday before or the month before, A and B witnesses come in.
They didn't come the previous week. No, right.
There
There might have been other witnesses, right?
Oh, so A and B never came to claim that Bonnie did the murder ever.
Right. They only said,
Ever.
they still, the A and B is saying that we were in the court on Sunday when the court made a ruling against
So
Ruvain,
they were not aiding for the murder.
but they were aiding in the
aiding
court.
for the court's decision.
Exactly. That's what that's the change. That's one change. Good point. They were aid them on the court's decision, and but by saying that statement, they want to create a murder to Ruvain because they're saying there was a court decision that we were in the court on Sunday. That's what they say. We were in the court on Sunday when the court handed out a ruling of death penalty for Ruvain. But subsequently, we found out from the second pair of witnesses that they were in the court. They say that they were in the court on Monday, and there was the death penalty against Ruvain was issued on Monday. So even though Ruvain, the first two witnesses said the date of the Gemar Din, of the ruling of the court was on Sunday, which was the day before the second pair of witnesses came to court. But since the first pair of witnesses came to court on Tuesday, we only heard from them. When did the first time the first pair of witnesses walked into court to say anything? Was on Tuesday morning. Now that the second pair of witnesses said that there was a verdict on Monday, so the moment the first pair of witnesses opened their mouth to say something, even though they said it happened on the Sunday before Monday, but they're talking about a guy that already there's a verdict. They're not going to be Chayim Mita.
No, but they never even tried to kill the guy.
No, they did try to kill the guy because they said it was a no. They were the one. Right, but they
Today's Tuesday. It's already a verdict.
right. There's already a verdict, but they didn't know about the verdict on Monday. They're claiming there was a verdict on Sunday. We didn't know anything until they came to court. We don't know anything. The court, this court, only knows the first pair of witnesses come to court. They tell us, they inform us there was a verdict on Sunday. They tell us you should know there was a verdict of death on Sunday against this guy. They're trying to kill the guy. And they found out, and they're framers. But they were substitute. That's a nice way to look at it. But they came out to be framers. But since we find out that the moment he was already set right at the end, only because the second pair of witnesses told us that there was a previous sentencing before.
Otherwise, the court doesn't know.
Right, they don't know anything
They
about
don't
it.
know. Monday.
Right, only based on what these witnesses tell us. So that's what the Gemara says. So the Gemara says, "V'lo'od,
Some other city.
v'lo'od." Not only that, afilu amru. This is here where the chiddush is going to be. Even if the second pair of witnesses say betray b'Shabbata on Monday, nigma dino, there was a verdict shel ploni of that person. Ein elu neragim. The framers will not get killed. Why? The be'idna de kamasadi, because the time, the be'idna means the time that they came to testify. When they came in on Tuesday morning, that they're testifying about a guy that there was already a sentence on the guy. And therefore, they're not coming to kill a person who's considered a live person. They're coming to consider a person that there was already a verdict, and there's no death for witnesses who are trying to frame a person who's already had a sentence of death on. The Me'idna Kamasadi, Gavra Bakatalu. He's already considered, they're coming to testify against a person who was considered dead in a certain sense, and therefore they're not coming to kill a wholesome person, and therefore the court down here does not kill witnesses for trying to kill such a type of person. And therefore, they will be off the hook, so to speak, from the court down here.
So you're saying, Rabbi, you're saying because he's already condemned, he's considered dead. So
In that sense.
therefore, they wouldn't be doing any harm. They're just confirming something that's already in process.
Right, even though they're doing something very wrong by framing someone who's already, but
It's
at the end of the day,
inconsequential because the train already left the station.
exactly. That's how down here we look at it. Exactly. It's the same idea we mentioned yesterday, that if a person has, let's say, some sort of let's say a hole in the lung or something like that, or something like that, certain type of thing that is considered a treifa, certain type of thing. If a person kills that type of person, the court down here doesn't kill a person for killing that type of person. The court kills for other type of people that a person kills. The court upstairs will deal with the guy for doing that thing. He's already, we consider him in that aspect, right? Now, the Gemara says, "V'chein le'inyan tashlumei knas." Regarding payment of a fine, the Gemara says a similar idea. What's the case? Bo shnayim. Remember we said that if a person steals and he's caught, the Torah says you got to pay double. That's what the Torah says. Person steals and we find the item by him. We have witnesses that you stole. You're gonna pay double, and obviously the second paying double is hopefully will be a great deterrent that people won't steal. If you know it's going to cost you 100% of what you stole. And not only that, we find if you stole certain items, we know a shar, we know an ox and a sheep. If you take an ox and you steal it, and then you start making business with not only that you went ahead and you stole it, you're doing business with your thievery. You sold it, or you slaughtered it. The Torah says you have to pay 4 or 5 times the amount of the item that you stole. Depending if you stole a sheep, you pay 4 times the amount. You stole an ox, you pay 5 times the amount. So that's a very hefty. And if you stole, again, only if you stole it and you did something to pay to 4 or 5 times the amount, it's only when you took it to another level. When you stole it and slaughtered it, or you stole it or sold it. Either one of those 2 cases, that's what the Torah is. Now, there is a law. We also stated that a person has the ability to turn himself in. And if he turns himself in, he will be off the hook from the fine. Meaning he has to pay the principal. He stole and he sold, or he stole and he slaughtered. If he comes to court and he says, I am the one who stole it and I sold it, or I'm the one who stole and slaughtered, he just has to pay back the face value of what he stole and slaughtered, and he does not have to pay the fine. No, how much was the animal when you stole it? What was the value? The market value, you stole an animal worth $1,000, to pay back $1,000. Right. So we obviously, it's a great incentive for people to turn themselves in, that they'll be off the hook from the penalty. That's the law. So we're going to see tomorrow more about the Gemara. We're going to go into details on that type of case. Have a great day, everybody. It's heavy Gemara, everybody. This is the real heavy stuff, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being on, Jaime. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you. It's beautiful when the people come and they show and they participate and they're involved. You know? You're going to be gone now? So we'll miss.